All right, so Scott, I wanted to pick your brain on this. Obviously, the big issue confronting people in Boston and Massachusetts is the special election. Markey versus Gomez. As somebody who's been through it, the highs, the lows, let me ask you three very quick questions. One, how do you handicap the Markey-Gomez race? What's your assessment right now, a couple days away? Question number two, you recently said that in your view, Gomez was a, quote, great candidate, unquote. Why? And my third question, is it because he's a rhino like you?
Well, first of all, I've been called a lot of things, but rhino isn't one of them, but thank you. Appreciate that. I think it's going to be single digits. I don't know which way yet. Obviously, Gomez is down. You have a choice. I was walking in and a gentleman said, you know, I'm voting for Paul Revere. That's great. That's great. Paul Revere's dead, okay? And a vote for Paul Revere is a vote for Ed Markey. If you want to vote for somebody who's raised your taxes 227 times, then vote for Paul Revere. But if you want to actually be part of the process and have a valid say in what's happening in this race right now, you get out and vote, period. And then I would vote for anybody but Markey, quite frankly, because we have already enough people down there with the rubber stamps who are going to just walk down the hallway and walk right into the chamber and look at Harry Reid and say, how do I vote? And that's what they do. I've seen it. It happens all the time. Is he a great candidate? Yeah. Anybody who wants to put themselves out to the public scrutiny and get criticized by people like you and others, constant barrage of personal attacks when he's a self-made guy, Navy SEAL, pilot, family man, hard worker, doing it for the flag, really no for any other reason, went through the process and evaluated. Yeah, he's a great candidate in my book. So does he have a chance? Absolutely has a chance, but it's up to each and every one of you. Remember, about this time last time, I was down, I think, 6 or 7 points. It's about where he is. It's about where he is. So you have a chance and you have a choice to make another statement to show the people down in Washington, as dysfunctional as it is, that you still have an opportunity to say to Washington, that's enough. That's enough. We're done. We're done with Benghazi. We're done with the IRS. We're done with the AP and all the trampling of our rights and privileges. We're done. Send a message. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, look, on that I agree with you. I definitely think Markey is the enemy. I think he'd be a disaster for this state. I think there's no question about it on many levels. You have a man who's been in Congress for 40 years. I could not make this up. He never, I kid you not, never met a tax increase he didn't support. Nearly 300 tax increases in his career. I mean, this is incredible. So you have a man who pretends to be the champion of the working and middle class, who has bled the workers and taxpayers of this state white. That to me is number one. Number two, and to me even more important, and this is where I have to criticize Gomez. And he talks about being in the political and public arena. I'm in the political and public arena. I get hammered all the time. But that's life. That's what you choose to do when you get in the public eye. Gomez is not running on the IRS. He's not running on Benghazi. He's not running on repealing Obamacare. I think if he went big, if he went national, frankly the way Scott did in his first time when he ran against Obamacare and the Tea Party backed him and catapulted him to victory, I think Gomez would be in a much better position. What is he really running on? He's running on term limits. Okay, I agree with term limits, but that's not going to get Joe Schmo in Waltham off his chair to vote.
It's Waltham.
Waltham. So I think his strategy is wrong. I think it's fundamentally flawed. I think he hasn't been aggressive enough. I think he's making the same mistake that Mitt Romney did. He's not taking the gloves off. Markey is killing him with negative ad after negative ad. For God's sakes, he's compared him to Osama bin Laden.
You can't. Accountability.
Pardon me?
What's going on accountability? People that don't do the job right, they get away with hell all the time. They let them get away, don't say a word about it. Pick them up on it. If you see no problem since in office.
No, I know. I mean, that's, look, the third debate I thought was his best debate. But even then, he let Markey off the hook again and again and again. So it's not that I'm pro-Markey. To me, literally, you put Lenin on the ballot, I'll vote for Lenin over Markey. So, and to me, the biggest issue, and this is the one I think in the end, when the final chapter is written on this race, should Gomez lose, you have a carpetbagger in Ed Markey. The guy is not a Massachusetts Democrat. He's a Maryland Democrat. He spent 2 decades in Chevy Chase in that villa, $1.3 million. That's basically his primary residence. So we're going to have, think about this, a man who lives in Chevy Chase in Maryland representing us, the people of Massachusetts, in the U.S. Senate. To me, that Gomez has let him skate on that issue when it's his biggest vulnerability, I think is a huge mistake. So what I would just suggest to the Gomez people, it's not too late. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Get a couple of your aides down to Chevy Chase. I've seen that area in Chevy Chase. I used to drive through it all the time. It's stunning. It's $1 million home after another. Go up right to his house, click a couple pictures, take a video, knock on the door, I'd say about noon, 1 o'clock, because Marcula is still in his coffin downstairs, sleeping from sucking our blood and taking our money. And then he comes out in his robe, with his little fangs probably still hanging out, and go click, and you say, that's your future senator, that's where he resides. And you loop it, and you loop it, and you loop it. And I think Gomez then has a chance. But nice guys finish last, in life and in politics. And I've met Gomez, I've had in-studio interviews with him. He's a nice guy, he's a good guy. But I gotta see the Navy SEAL in him. If he wants to win, I gotta see the Navy SEAL in him.